I was like, I'm getting really hungry. This is gonna be my last one, and I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna go like just I'm gonna be done, right? Always then. So I start going around the thing, and there's this one turn that kind of it's a hard turn. Anyways, I get to that turn, and I don't even remember how I felt. I think like I like start running off my board, and then like this side, but I immediately got up, and then so like the person that was behind me, thankfully didn't run into me. It was just a random person at the park, and he's like, "Yo, are you okay?" And I was like, "It's like honestly, I don't know." So I just sat down and I like gave myself like a minute to like recover, right? And um and then I got up. I was fine, right? And then I walked back to where my girlfriends were, like it was like the other side. I know, right, Marine Tom? Literally, literally. And then like I know I should have had like protection on like padding and like everyone like my family, whenever they see me out there, they're like, wear your helmet, where go get padding. But the weird thing is like wherever I did fall, it actually wouldn't have been protected by padding. Not saying I shouldn't have like been wearing anything, but like anyways, it was just fucking wild. Like and like I'm very serious about my face. Like I was like, my face. I was just like opening my mouth and I was like, is my teeth bleeding? Marine Tom. I was like really worried about my teeth. Yeah, like my teeth. Um so anyway, like go back to like where my girlfriends are, right? And um hold on, sorry, I forgot. And then and then I'm like, fine, I think. And then I know, right, Marine Tom? Literally, it's important. Maybe I should wear a mouth guard, honestly. But so I went back to the girls and I was feeling fine. But then, like, when I sat down, one of them looks at me and, like, as she's saying it, like, I'm feeling it. She's like, are you okay? She knows, like, my history. I kind of, like, have fainted a few times in my life. And so she's like, are you dizzy by chance? And I was like, yeah, actually, I am dizzy. So then, so then I'm like dizzy. And so then people are thinking, oh my God, did she get a concussion? And because I've fainted multiple times in my life, like I have like certain techniques I do to like get like the blood back rushing to my head or whatever. So I start doing like those techniques. But then all my girlfriends like start suggesting different ideas. Like they're like, oh, you should lay down on your back and put your heads up in the air. And then somebody else is like, no, 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 she shouldn't do that. Needs to be like laying down flat. So then like after feeling dizzy, I start like flipping like my body like this way, that way, like oh, like trying to listen to people's advice. And then I'm like, I grab my girlfriend's hand, um, and I'm like, dude, like, I, it was like scary. I just like I couldn't like, I wasn't there. Like I was just like, my body was just like depleting from itself, and I felt like I couldn't save myself, and I literally just like was holding her hands. I'm like looking at my other girlfriend. I'm like, please, like with the little bit of like energy I have left, I was like, please, somebody save me. And somehow somebody on the other side of the park had busted their fucking head open. They're okay, thank God. But so the EMS was already there. So thankfully, they just went over to the other side and an EMS man came over to help us. But then, I don't know if you're in America, but it's something we worry about. Well, my girlfriend's like, oh, do you have health insurance? Like, we're going to charge you a shit ton of money for this. And so, like, literally, as out of consciousness, this is what I'm like processing and stuff. And so this guy comes up to me and I was like, he's like, hi, what's your name? Can I check you out or whatever? And I was like, are you going to charge me? And he's like, yeah, there will be a charge. And I was like, no, I don't need you. And I'm like over here dying. And I'm in America. Yeah, you understand. So people get worried about like using our help because we're worried we're gonna get like this huge bill or whatever. But my friends didn't realize I had health insurance, so it would have been fine. But um, yeah. So he's like, yeah, we'll charge, and so I was like, okay, I don't want your help or whatever. And then I started telling him about I was like, I kind of know myself and I have a fainting history, and he's like, okay, since you already know this, like, how about I just Sarge, welcome in. It's been a while. Um, he was like, okay, since you already kind of know your history, let me just give you a free blood pressure test. Hot for it. Hey, very sexy. I love seeing you in the morning, girl. You did some, um, yeah. So he did the blood pressure test, and apparently the first time he did it, my blood pressure was so low that the machine didn't even pick it up. So then he ran it again, and like, since I do faint a lot, like I don't really know what the numbers mean, but I try to ask them. I'm like, like, what number am I at? And hey, thank you, Fresh D. This is sweet. So I asked him like what number I'm at, and like what that means, so I can like try to like remember that for the future. And honestly, it's been 7 years since I have fainted, which is great. So I kind of didn't know what numbers meant anymore. Yeah, I don't understand numbers either. So I asked him, and he's like, your blood pressure is at 80. That's what it's reading. And I was like, okay, what's a normal number? He's like, in the nicest way possible, he's like, it should not be any lower than 100. So I'm like 220 under the lowest amount it should be. And he's like, he said the first time the machine couldn't even pick it up, it was so low. I was like, damn, that does not sound good. So, which is also kind of last run. Like, y'all remember, I told my girlfriend, I was like, it's my last run, I'm gonna go home for dinner. So then I had to sit at the skate park for another like 30 minutes to 40 minutes so I could like, make sure I was okay before I could go home. And then all my girlfriends were like, what the fuck, you're gonna drive home? Like, yeah, I was borderline passing out, Maureen, Tom. I've done it multiple times in my life, like fainted nine times in my life, literally. And yeah, all the symptoms were there. But yeah, when the guy's like taking my blood pressure, and my girlfriend's like, oh my God, she hasn't eaten. That's probably what it is. I was like, I have a Twizzler in my bag. So I'm like, and remember I had hurt my jaw. So like my teeth aren't like fucked, but like, it was like tight. Like I was like chewing this hard ass Twizzler, and I'm like in and out of consciousness. Like, oh my God. But yeah, like y'all, I'm so fucking lucky to be here. And just like that shit is so close to death. I could imagine that like this shit is scary to go through. Like, and every time I've fucking done it, it's always been in like public around people, which is like really scary for everybody else. Like, they're like literally witnessing somebody, like their friend, like, oh my God, what's happening? Is she gonna come back? Like, what do I do? Right? Yeah, it really could have. It really could have. Marine Tom. But it's